With changes in technology and society, some pieces of furniture become no longer needed. In this video, I'm going to take one of them and make it into something very useful and very cool. Hello beautiful people, if you like nature and plants, by the end of this video you'll probably want one of these. Before I tell you what my plan is, this is just a simple way of checking if something is made of brass or not, and these are not. And my plan for this project is to take this old writing bureau that people don't use anymore and turn it into something very desirable and very beautiful. When I was a kid, if something broke, you try to fix it instead of replacing it with a new item, but these days, people don't really do it anymore. I think this is why I really like restoring things, but with items like this writing bureau, even if I restore it to a pristine condition, no one would buy it because people don't use this anymore and it just wouldn't make any sense. This is why sometimes, in order to save a piece of furniture from trash and make it desirable, you need to repurpose it. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this old unwanted writing bureau into something I call an office garden. This will need to be replaced because there is a big stain in the middle and it just doesn't look nice. Because of these automated support pieces for the top bit that come out when you open it, it makes me think that this bureau was quite posh when it was new. I think that if I remove those screws, I'll be able to pull out all those little cubbies, which would make it pretty simple. Wow, that was easy and doesn't happen very often. And I think now I can just take these out without removing the back. This has been definitely worked on. This must have been added. It looks new. This is a bit disappointing because, as you can see, this is plywood covered with veneer. I don't think that this is as old as I thought it was originally, because it looks like this is veneer, at least some parts of it. I'm gonna see if I can remove the top coat with acetone, because I think that's gonna be the easiest way. It's not gonna be very easy, so I think I'll just sand it. It looks like the veneer is actually quite thick, so maybe it won't be as bad. This is actually going better than expected, and I don't want to make it brand new because I'm going for the rustic look, so I want to leave a little bit of that stain and patina, if you will, because I think this will just work well with the look that I'm going for.
"2,000 years later."
As if Hugo knew that I needed a break after all that sanding, he stopped by for a quick snack. To make it a bit easier for me to sand and clean the inside of this bureau, I removed the drawer stoppers, and I think one or two of them were damaged anyway. And as always, I sanded the back and the bottom because I'm a professional. I'm pretty surprised how smoothly it has gone so far. It worries me a little bit because it never happens like that. But I'm going to do a bit more sanding and then I'll get the drawers sorted. And Bob's your uncle. Talking about Bob, the zip-up hoodie and the t-shirt that you'll see me wearing in this video, that's from my merch store. So if you want one of them, the link is in the description. And talking about that, I just want to explain something because I get lots of comments. The reason YouTubers do deals with brands and partnerships is because this simply allows us to do what we do. It would be amazing if all YouTubers could just rely simply on the revenue from YouTube ads, but it doesn't always work like that. And I know this can be personally annoying if you're not interested in the partnership I'm talking about, but if you want to support a YouTuber, simply just watch it, because otherwise YouTube algorithm thinks you're not interested in the video if you skip through it. And I know that huge number of people skip through most of the video to go straight to the end because I can literally see it in the analytics, but this is the worst thing you can do. Annoyingly, this is veneer, which is quite surprising. I thought this was a solid piece of oak, but it's okay. It's just a tiny thing. I hope I've explained the reasons why I do brand partnerships, and many other people do as well. And I want you to know that there are many offers that I don't accept because I just don't agree with the brand's philosophy or simply just what they do. But my recent partnerships with Bombas, many of you guys actually really enjoyed and I got very positive comments, so I decided to do it again. So Mando and I are very happy to work with Bombas because every time you buy a pair of socks from Bombas, the company donates one to someone experiencing homelessness, and this way they support local communities, and this is something that I can definitely stand behind. They make amazing, comfortable socks, and they've already donated 150 million of them. But the main thing really is that Mando really likes Bombas, so I have no choice. They make all sorts of socks, as well as underwear and t-shirts. And yes, they donate t-shirts and underwear as well. I run a lot, and having good quality, very absorbent and comfortable socks is super important, so I'm very happy with these. After posting the last video, I was very happy to see many comments from you saying that you actually know Bombas and you've been using their products and you are very happy with them. So take advantage of the 20% discount if you use my code FLIPPINGDRAWERS. They offer free returns as well as shipping to over 200 countries. And thank you to Bombas for supporting my video and local communities. So far I haven't really said anything about the project, but I've been doing the boring bits, so there is really nothing to say. But I'm pretty much on the final stretch as far as sanding and getting it ready for the final bit, so it's gonna get more interesting now. If you watch my videos, you know that I often do the two-tone effect, but this time I decided to sand those round bits and make them the same color as the rest of this bureau. This is all plywood, so I don't want to sand it off because it's not gonna look good. I'm basically sanding this lightly with 180 grit so I can put some oil on it. I've got this all sanded as much as I want it to be sanded because I'm going for that rustic look, and now I can do the fun bits. I'm not going to sand this because this is plywood, so this is not oak and it's not gonna look like the rest of it, so I think I'll keep this the original color, but I'll clean it up and probably put some oil on it or maybe a bit of lacquer toner. But I need to replace this felt because I'm a professional. Wow, that was easy. It's not very often that things go smoothly and nothing goes wrong, so it's a nice change and I appreciate it. Because these little cubbies, they were actually in a decent condition, I used a bit of Restore a Finish for the inside of the small drawer, and I'm also going to use it for the rest of it because I'm not going to remove the varnish, or at least not completely, so I don't need to replace the top coat. And to attach this piece of felt, I simply used a little bit of spray adhesive. All these little holes in the back will make sense later, I promise. This is actually way too shiny. I need to take it out because it won't work with the rest of the hardware. Or at least not the way it looks now, but I'm going to age it so it looks a bit more like the rest of the hardware. I'm not really going to polish all these brass bits, I'm just cleaning them because there's just a lot of crap on them, and I'm going to age them, but I just basically want to start with a clean canvas if it makes sense, so I can age them the way I want them to be. The insides of the drawers, there was nothing wrong with them, so there was no reason to redo the top coat and to sand them, so I gave them a good clean, and I used a little bit of hard wax oil just to give them a nice and fresh look. I'm going to use this hard wax oil from Morel's, and 10% means that it doesn't have a lot of sheen, and these are just some pigments that I'm going to mix in, so it gives the wood a nice warm color. I've been using these pigments for a while, so I kind of have an idea what the mix of these two pigments will result in, and I'm going for a nice chocolatey warm color, and that's exactly what I got. Though I guess you could argue that it also looks like something else. Talking about color, I've had lots of weird comments about my hair. And no, I don't dye my hair, this is just what it looks like naturally, and I guess it's a bit unusual and I look like I'm related to Storm from X-Men, but that's just how it looks, and to be honest, I'm just glad I have it. Anyhow, as you can see, the mix of these pigments with this oil basically makes this oak look a bit darker but still very warm and natural, and because I'm going for the rustic look, I like it. If you watch my videos, you know that I like using hard wax oil because it's super easy to apply. You literally just rub it in, wipe off the excess, and bob's your uncle. And this pretty much concludes all the work with the wooden bits, or most of it, and now I can get to the hardware. And this is the hardware that I'm using, and this is the aging solution that I'm going to use, and you dilute it with water, and it's 1:10 ratio. This is all cast iron, and because some of you guys ask about the things that I use, so I'm going to put links to all these items and the aging solution in the description if you want to buy them. And as you can see, this is extremely simple to use. You just brush it on.
A few moments later.
Look at these beautiful vintage cast iron bits, straight from Amazon. I am very happy with how these turned out. They look really cool and rustic. So this is the next day and it's looking good. I'm quite happy with the color and everything, and it's time to put it together. And based on a theory from the University of, I reckon, this is the first thing of its kind. I actually did some research online and I couldn't find anything like it. All that I've been able to find or generate using AI was this type of writing bureau with some plants put on top of it, but this is not what I'm trying to create here, and I think this might be the first of its kind. And let me try and explain why I'm doing this. We know that green color and nature is very relaxing and calming, and for people who work from home and spend lots of time just staring at their computer screen and maybe have no access to outdoor space because, you know, they live in flats or condominiums, this is just a way around it. But the other cool thing about this is that this is basically a functional piece of decor that doubles as storage, and you can put it in your greenhouse, in your conservatory, in your living room, or wherever you want. And this is why I like it, because it's just so versatile. You can do so many things with it. In other words, if you want a garden office but you don't have a garden, you're welcome. The old drawer stoppers that I removed, they were not great, so I removed them and cut new ones, which I glued and nailed in place. I know that these look quite rusty, but that's exactly what I wanted, and if you don't want as much, you simply apply less fluid or only in some areas. But another way to diminish the effect, if you go too far and you don't like it, is to simply spray it with clear lacquer or put some wax on it, and it will just mute the effect a little bit. Because of the shape of the upper half of this bureau, it would be difficult to attach anything to it because those surfaces are angled. To mitigate this, I'm using these brackets, and I'm going to put some trays on them so I can actually put plants on top. And this is simply support for one of the brackets that I'm going to put in the middle above the bureau. And this will allow me to maximize the space where I can put plants, so it looks like a luscious garden and I have lots of place in a very small area. And yes, I know those two brackets on the sides are not on the same level, but that's because I wanted them to look more organic and not too symmetrical. Yeah, this just doesn't go with the rest of it. I can't stand it, so I'm gonna take it off and I'm gonna put this on instead. Because this is lockable already, so I don't really care about covering this one. And because I'm not removing the lock, it's easily reversible if anyone ever wants to use it. Obviously this is all purely for decoration, but that's what this whole project is about. I'm going to use these bamboo trays and screw them to these brackets so I can put plants on these, and I think this matches the color a bit better. And yes, I use lacquer toner off camera just so the color would match a bit better the whole aesthetic. And the holes that I drilled before are for the fairy lights that I found in my house and decided to put them in the back of these cubbies just to illuminate them and make them look cool at night. Because, you know, who doesn't like fairy lights in a garden? Probably one of the most difficult parts of this project was deciding what sort of plants I wanted to use. And when I went to a local garden center, I think I took like 2 hours to decide because, you know, I'm not a gardener, so I wanted to find plants that will actually survive indoors, would be suitable for the purpose I wanted them for, and would also look cool. And from reading the labels, I think I succeeded because most of the plants are suitable for where I'm going to have them. If you haven't skipped through this video, thank you so much for watching, and shout out to all the channel members. You guys are the best. I hope you enjoyed this project and maybe you want to make something like this. I encourage you to find a piece of furniture and repurpose it, save it from trash, and create something amazing at the same time. Thank you again to Bombards for sponsoring this video. All the links are in the description. Thank you again for watching, enjoy the final results, and see you in the next one.